Good afternoon, everybody. This is Ashley Ritchey with the New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project. Thank you all for joining us for the very first New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project webinar. This is part of our Stay Healthy at Home series. So I'd like to jump right into our presentation. All right. So our webinar is called Staying Safe Online, Tips for Students and Adults with Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities. This webinar is really geared towards teaching self-advocates safe and responsible practices towards internet use, but I very much appreciate the staff members who support self-advocates. So we have a lot of information, and the hope is that you as a professional take this information and share it with your networks, the self-advocates and self-advocacy groups that you support, because it's a really, really critical topic as we are all undoubtedly spending a lot more time online lately. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Ashley Ritchey, and I'm a licensed social worker and the director of the New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project, NJSAP for short. NJSAP has been a program of the ARC of New Jersey since 1983. My team and I support a statewide network of individual self-advocates and self-advocacy groups. We provide training, resources, and host self-advocacy events throughout the state. So I would encourage you to check out our website if you'd like to learn a little bit more. This particular webinar series is very much aligns with the mission of our Healthy Lifestyles Project, which is a program that was developed to help students and adults with disabilities learn about different topics related to health and wellness. So again, responsible internet use, staying safe online, very much part of living a generally healthy lifestyle. And you can learn a little bit more about our Healthy Lifestyles Project by visiting this website. And I should also say that the links included in this website, this webinar are live. So feel free to come back to them. The slides will be posted. You can check out the information that's included here because the links are live. Just click on the blue and it'll take you to the site. So today's discussion is really going to center around pros and cons of internet use. We're going to talk about benefits and potential risks of using the World Wide Web. We are going to explore some case examples of internet use, and I'm going to really ask for some feedback on these case examples. Some of them are based on anecdotes that my team and I have heard from self-advocates or family members. So that's a little bit of more interactive portion of the webinar. Again, using that chat feature on the GoToWebinar application. So we're also going to discuss tips and techniques for identifying and avoiding online scams. These are all too common. So hopefully we'll be able to look into those, and I ask you to share that information widely to keep folks safe. And we're going to explore some resources for staying safe online. So we've got a lot ahead of us in this next hour. To get started, I would really like you to think about, how did you learn to use the internet? When did you get your first computer? Was it a shared computer? Was it in a family room, a common space in your home? Did your parents and caregivers talk to you about their expectations around your internet use? Was it for school? Was it for entertainment? A little bit of both? I ask this because I think that responsible internet use is a skill. I don't think that any of us inherently know, without ever having used it before, what responsible internet use looks like without some experience. And unfortunately, I think a lot of folks with disabilities may be left out of discussions about that topic, whereas folks without disabilities might be more privy to some information that ultimately helps them become safe, effective internet users. So I just want us to keep that in mind as we're going through this information. A lot of what we're going to talk about and the examples we're going to discuss are not specific to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. For our cases, the characters in the case examples do have disability, but a lot of the issues we're going to talk about impact people with and without disabilities throughout the world. So our goal is to really talk about this topic because I don't think it's being talked about widely, and hopefully share some tools that will help you become a more effective internet user and help the folks that you support use the internet in a safe and effective way. So I really think about internet access in terms of freedom. There's so much about the internet that, I mean, we use it every day here at the Self-Advocacy Project. We use it to promote our program. We use it to connect with self-advocates. And in the light of, the stay-at-home order, we are relying on the internet to maintain that connection with the advocates, the direct support professionals, and staff that we work with. It's really freedom. It allows much more freedom for us to avoid social isolation. I think that some of the folks that we work with may have smaller social circles. They may not have as many people in their lives who are there as support, who are not paid, unpaid supports, natural supports, whatever you want to call it, friends and family that are there for you. So some of the folks we work with may be a little bit more socially isolated, and we know, and there's been a lot more research into this lately, but loneliness and social isolation is detrimental to mental and physical health. So again, internet access creates a way to connect with other people and people that may share a lot of the same interests as you. Interestingly, I think it's also a way to break free of the constraints of a schedule. Some of the folks we work with have a very strict schedule of where they're going to be every weekday, attending a day program, going to this event after day program, going home. We all have our schedules, but many of us without disabilities may have a little bit more say in how those schedules are made. And I think internet access again affords some breaking free from constraints of daily life. It also allows someone to be free from immediate identification as a person with a disability. I bring this up because we know stigma is real. We know that folks with disabilities report that, some people feel judged immediately once a person knows that they have a disability. But when you're behind a computer screen and you're able to create a persona based on what you feel and what you believe and how you want to be perceived, again, that plays into a little bit more personal freedom. It also is freedom of information. I mean, all of the information that's at our fingertips once we have access to the internet is absolutely mind-blowing. There's freedom to explore the world through, Google Earth, and to explore individual interests that you may not be able to access in real life. So when we talk about internet access, how many people worldwide are really using the internet? Most of us would probably say a lot, like a lot. But I want to actually take a look at how many people are on the internet at this very moment. So something like 4.47 billion people are using the internet in the world. That was updated as of 1 minute ago. We can look at how many photos have been uploaded to Instagram. It's absolutely unreal. Tumblr, Twitter, I'm sure you're seeing some social media outlets that you might use. And also, interestingly, these are how many websites that are currently on the internet that are actively hacked or unsafe to use. So again, when we talked about the benefits, the freedoms, there are also risks, and we're going to explore some of those. I just bring this up because I think it's a fun way to just recognize that, something we might already assume. A lot of people are using the internet worldwide. And just another point about social isolation. As I said, we know that social isolation, loneliness is really detrimental to health and well-being. And specifically, a lot of the folks that we work with report that lack of transportation or lack of access to accessible transportation is an issue that prevents them from participating in social or recreational opportunities. And again, if you want to learn a little bit more about that and the impact and the relationship between transportation, access, and social isolation, feel free to check out the In Their Own Words podcast. This was a partnership between the New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project and Rutgers Center for Advanced Infrastructure and Technology, so Rutgers CATE. We spoke with hundreds of self-advocates and family members statewide to look a little bit more into this issue. And for some of us who've been in the field for a while, the takeaway might not be surprising, but we did find that many people with disabilities and their family members are frustrated by the lack of access to transportation. They want more, and they want to use that to stay connected. So speaking of connections, I want to talk a little bit about online dating. I looked into it because I was curious. Speaking of stigma, dating online, meeting someone online, the stigma towards that act has really changed a lot over the past, couple of decades. Back in 2005, people were polled and asked if they thought that online dating was a good way to meet people. And just 44% of respondents said, yes, we agree. It's a good way. Nowadays, it's closer to 60% of people would say that it's an acceptable form of meeting a partner. And in terms of people who use the question of desperation, if people who use online dating sites are desperate, that has decreased. Very fewer people believe that that's something that should be stigmatized. So a lot of people are using online dating apps. Examples include Bumble, Match, Tinder, Grindr, OkCupid. What I would say is that when we discuss this topic specifically with groups of self-advocates, we bring up the fact that online dating could be a way that you meet a romantic partner. But it's important to know that not all of these dating apps are free. So you want to look into any costs associated with using those apps. And again, you also want to maintain your privacy and make sure that you're mitigating the amount of personal information that you're sharing outright to avoid potential scammers or someone who can put you in a dangerous position. But overall, dating online is incredibly common. A lot of people are meeting their spouses and long-term partners online. So that stigma has really been reduced over the past decade. So our first case example relates to internet dating. And as I'm going through this example, if you would like to participate, feel free to jump into the chat box and let me know what you think. So this case example involves Leo, who is a 25-year-old man with intellectual disability. Leo was given an iPad for his birthday and immediately set up an online dating profile. Within a couple days, Leo had made a match and spent a lot of his time chatting on Skype, another great web-based way to connect. They were chatting on Skype with his new girlfriend. Within a few weeks, Leo's girlfriend said that she wanted to visit him for the holidays, but she couldn't afford a plane ticket on her own. So Leo shared his credit card number and security code so that his girlfriend could purchase a flight. Unfortunately, Leo's card was not used to purchase airfare. Instead, several expensive orders were placed on various retail websites and shipped to an address in another state. So again, this is not unique to people with disabilities. MTV has made a ton of money off of their very famous show, Catfish. People with and without disabilities fall victim to these types of scams. But in this example, I just would like you to think about what could have been done differently to help Leo avoid this experience. I think about, what if Leo's family members or members of his support team had a conversation with him about what a healthy adult relationship looks like, what an unhealthy relationship looks like. What are some red flags that he may have been able to look out for? Because unfortunately, I think that desperation does play in at a certain point for adults that really want to forge this relationship and really want to be able to make connections with people. Again, the internet is a fantastic place to do that. You can cultivate your persona, you can share the information that you're comfortable sharing. But when we train self advocates on this topic, we really talk about the fact that you don't know who's on the other side of that screen. And that may be part of the appeal, that may be part of the excitement, but it's also a factor that can play in to put someone in a dangerous or compromising position. So I think it is our responsibility as members of people's support teams or family members or siblings to have the conversation. There are scams and schemes happening online. And instead of being reactive and jumping in only when your loved one or a friend or someone that has experienced these things, being proactive and discussing in advance is much more preferable. And in this case, could have saved Leo financial hardship as well as heartbreak. So again, we talk about the balance of rights and responsibilities. Internet use is not an inherent human right, but it's somewhat of a privilege. Someone has to be in a certain has to have a certain amount of money maybe to access the internet and have a reliable internet connection or a computer or a tablet. But it is that person's responsibility to know and to be aware of their responsibilities as an internet user. So just as we wouldn't want someone to be on the receiving end of a scam, we don't want the folks that we support going out and intentionally spreading false information. We don't want that of anybody. So again, I think having that discussion in advance and setting up some expectations before someone jumps into active internet use, it's just important. We also talk about the fact that our social media activity is a reflection. So it's like holding up a mirror. When people look at your social sites, when they visit your Facebook page, your Twitter page, Instagram, could go on and on. So many different outlets for personal expression nowadays. When we present this information to self-advocates, we really try to make it real, bring up examples of, listen, if someone searches you, are they going to find this, or are they going to find something that could make them think twice about hiring you? Or I think it's just important to let folks know in a real way that the information that is posted online, once it's posted, it's gone. It's really out of your control in large part. People can screenshot things, people can save things even after you go back in and try to remove it or delete it. So that may be something that a lot of folks don't know, because delete seems like you're getting rid of it, it's gone forever. But in reality, nothing really disappears on the internet. So we want to talk to people about the fact that when they share personal information, just like if you share a photo or a comment, you can never really get rid of it. Same with personal information. Once it is out there, it is out. And we also like to, as part of the conversation before someone begins using the internet or begins online dating, you want to make sure that that person is aware of privacy settings. So there are applications and websites that will automatically track your location. That can obviously put people in dangerous situations. So you want to make sure that you as a staff member, family member, sibling are aware of different privacy settings and explore those with the people that you care about. Make sure that they are protecting themselves and to the best of their ability online. And another general rule that we try to stick with is avoid accepting friend requests from complete strangers. We've done this presentation for groups of students and adults with disabilities of all sizes. And I remember one particular group, a question came up that someone said, well, won't they be upset if I don't accept them? Won't they be upset that I'm not being their friend? But we expressed that, if you don't really know that person in real life, you don't know who's on the other side of that screen. And it's not about being mean, it's not about being nasty, it's about protecting yourself first. And you do not have to accept friend requests from people you don't know. So again, that's these are just kind of quick tips about having that conversation with people. What kind of information are they sharing? Are they aware of the fact that, once it's entered the internet, it's kind of out of our control? I think it's worth sharing with people of all ages, and especially so if someone is new to the internet and just jumping into social media. And now we're going to talk a little bit about cyberbullying. So unfortunately, some of the groups that I work with have experienced classic in real life, in-person school bullying. Some have experienced bullying into their adult lives as well. And what I can say is that bullying has a lasting impact. Unfortunately, even if it happened decades ago, often the people that I speak with will recount things that were said or will recount, abuses that happened years ago that feel very real and very much at the front of their mind. It has long-lasting impact, and what the research is finding is that cyberbullying is just as impactful, even if it's not, physical violence or things that are being said verbally. The cyberbullying kind of doesn't end at the schoolyard. The cyberbullying can continue once someone has gotten home, maybe logged on, and then they see different comments that are online about them or photos meant to, be hostile and be harmful. So it's really a new frontier. And it's something that we can all actually play a part in ending. It's certainly not just people with disabilities who are experiencing cyberbullying, but it's something that we can all make ourselves aware of and know how to address it when we do see it online. So I'd like to jump into a couple resources. And just another, in terms of thinking about cyberbullying, in terms of thinking about our presence online, I'd like to share this because I found this online. Think before you post, right? So we do actually want people to stop and think and pause before they post or share or comment, whatever they were going to do. Think about, is the information true? Especially right now, there is seemingly more information online that's, rumor-based, false. So we want to make sure that we're posting and sharing things that are true and accurate and not serving to stoke fear and anxiety. I think everyone's had enough of that. I think what people need is facts and actual information. So is it true? Is it helpful? Can this information help and support the network of people that I'm connected with? Or would it actually serve to ostracize people? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? That one's way more subjective, but again, is it necessary to say what I'm going to say? Is it necessary to comment what I want to comment? Or do I kind of need those golden five seconds to step back and rethink my response? Just like in-person communication, when we train self-advocates on internet etiquette and communication, we still talk about not texting or typing in anger, not allowing ourselves to be taken away by emotion and say something we ultimately want to take back. Because again, once it's out there, it's out there. You cannot physically take it back. And the last point, and think, is it kind? Because I think that everybody could do with a little bit more kindness. And if you can bring some kindness to the internet, good for you. So this is our rule: think before you post. And I know that there are some family members listening in today, which is wonderful, and we appreciate so much. I think this could also, this family cell phone contract, which was developed by two folks and posted to cyberbullying.org. You can find it at this link. This is a live link. Feel free to check it out, make copies, share as you like. But this cell phone contract really sets forth expectations of your child or loved one. If you're giving them a cell phone, here are the things that you expect of them. And it really focuses on responsible use. I think this could be adapted very nicely for internet use as well. So I like to share this as a resource because it could be something that, a staff member can edit or revise for people living in the same house together, setting up expectations or a contract to use the internet responsibly. But again, I think it's important to have that conversation and have that opportunity to address, if this is a privilege you're going to enjoy, here's some things that I would like to see, from you as a responsible internet user or cell phone user. The Anti-Bullying Alliance, super great website. They have so much fantastic information, not just on anti-bullying or cyberbullying, but different resources for training students and adults with disabilities on a variety of topics. So feel free to check out their website. And I just love this graphic because it's really asking people to stop, speak, and support when you see online bullying. There's just a simple stop. You can comment, stop, that's bullying, I don't support this. Just as you would advocate in person, there are opportunities to step in online when you see things like this happening. And there are many different movements online right now. Stomp Out Bullying, a specific ask to change the culture. That's their mission. So they have a lot of great ways to get involved, different campaigns, and a lot of information specifically about identifying and getting rid of cyber-based and in-person bullying. And I should also say that cyberbullying is a violation of the terms of service of all major social media providers. So Facebook has a specific way of identifying and reporting instances of cyberbullying on Facebook, as does Instagram and Twitter. So, when we talk about this topic with groups of advocates, we say, if you see it, report it. It's not snitching. It could be helping someone get out of a really, really nasty, uncomfortable situation. If you're an advocate in real life, you've got to hold yourself to that standard online as well. And we talk about the fact that if the threat ever involves physical violence, it is critical to contact law enforcement right away. Just as you would identify evidence and gather evidence in a physical altercation or a physical act of bullying, you can take screenshots of conversations or any kind of correspondence online, because law enforcement will want to see those to substantiate the claim. But it's very real. They are taking it seriously. And the Office of Civil Rights has actually appealed to the disability community to report bullying that's based on disability, perceived disability, gender identity, race, religion. The Office of Civil Rights is taking this very seriously. They know that threats that are made online can be carried out in person. It's not just a text, it's not just a tweet or a comment. It's taken as seriously as if you were to say it to someone in person or verbally. So you can Google this information. And again, if you don't have the phone number or contact for law enforcement in your community, I would advise you to Google that information just for your own edification. And this is a post that, or a slide that we include in our trainings for self-advocates. Generally speaking, we talk about think. We talk about taking the golden 5 seconds to pause before you post. But here's another rule that we like to share. In general, we don't want to post anything that we wouldn't want our grandparents or our bosses to see. No one wants to upset their Nana. No one wants to post something online that a potential boss is going to see, whether it's, 2 weeks or 5 years down the line. The information that's out there is out there. So it's really, really critical that we express that to the folks we support and our loved ones. Once it's gone, once you've posted it, it's out there and you cannot take it back. It is not possible. So just as your friend can see what you posted, a lot of hiring managers, I know before I hire for the Self-Advocacy Project, I'm Googling the person that's applying. I want to know what information they've felt is appropriate to share online, especially because my organization has a presence online. We want to make sure the person that we're bringing onto the team has that responsibility and has that good judgment. So again, this is really another golden rule. You don't want to disappoint your grandparents or turn away potential bosses by things that you post. They can really come back to haunt you. Oh, and the sad emoji. Sorry, got stuck there for a moment. All right, we're moving on. So this is a portion of the presentation where I would really welcome different feedback from everybody. There's a chat option, so pop into the chat. I'll say hi everyone right here to show you where it's at. If you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. We will get to those at the end, or you can type your question into the chat box where I just sent a message. Okay, so when we go through these case examples, I very much want to hear from you guys. Let me know if you think this is a scam or something legitimate that could be coming through our inbox or through our text messages. Okay, so again, we value questions and comments, so feel free to share them in the chat box and I will address them at the end of this presentation. Okay, so this case example is based on an interaction between Kathy and her son, Mike. Mike is 30 years old and he has autism spectrum disorder. He is on the spectrum. One day on her way home from the office, Kathy receives a call from her credit card company alerting her of suspicious activity. That's a call none of us want to receive. Someone had just attempted to purchase $1,000 in gift cards with the credit card linked to her Amazon account. When Kathy arrives home, her son Mike is sitting at the computer in the family room. Kathy notices that Mike is online, so she asks him if he has placed any recent orders. Mike freely admits to ordering gift cards from Amazon and explains that because they are gift cards, they would be sent to him for free as a gift from Amazon, because people don't charge you for gifts. So I bring up this example to start because this is based on a real life interaction. This was based on something that a family member shared with me. All the names have been changed to respect privacy, but this really happened. And I bring this up because, again, certain folks on the spectrum may literally interpret words and phrases. So again, the phrase gift card, wow, that sounds really great. Amazon's going to send me a gift. They can afford it, So I think that when we talk about internet access and responsible internet use, it's important to explore and literally go in together, maybe sit side by side with your loved one, your sibling, someone that you support, and go through, this is what it means. When we go to www.amazon.com, do we see this little lock? And it's a closed lock. That's a secure connection. So that's our first start. If you share an Amazon account with a family member, and you have your debit or credit card directly linked, so you can hit one-click ordering. Does that person know what that means? That once they hit buy all the items, one click, it's done, it's shipped, it's, it's going to take a little bit of work for you to get that back or to cancel the order. So I think it's, again, important to discuss not only budgeting, can the person afford what's in the cart, but is that order coming from a secure, trusted website? And are they aware of the steps in the process? Is there going to be a check? Does someone have to ask for permission before hitting, purchase? Again, this is part of that conversation. This is a privilege to be able to use the internet, so many great tools, but are we using it responsibly and respectfully? Okay, so now we're going to jump into is it a fake, is it a phony, or is this a legit opportunity that can be encountered online? So again, I welcome anybody to submit their feedback in the chat box. So imagine that this comes through your messages. Warning, Criminal Investigation Division of IRS is filing a lawsuit against you. Oh no, that's concerning. For more information, call on, and here's this long number, on an urgent basis. Otherwise, your arrest warrant will be forwarded to your local police department, and your property, social benefits, and bank accounts will be frozen by the government. What do we think right off the bat? Is this a scam or is this legit? Let's see, any feedback here? Okay. So right away, I would say, as far as I know, the IRS is not really sending text message warnings if they wanted to arrest you. So, right away, they're giving you a warning. This is not something that would typically happen. A lot of scams, because this is definitely a scam, a lot of scams typically have this very urgent warning, right? We're going to freeze all your assets and take your property and send you to jail and this and that. When these things actually happen, it's usually through the mail or someone showing up to your door to address you directly. So this is a scam. This is something that actually was sent. This is actually a text message, but it is definitely a scam. So in this instance, we want to delete it. If the person receiving it is concerned that these things may actually happen, you can also contact your local police department to report this type of scam and delete the message and block the number if it comes through a text message. So we also want to look at this message. So this is a message that comes up in your text. Now you'll notice right away that this is a number without a contact. The phone isn't suggesting that it's someone you know. The phone is just giving you this number. And it says, "No Chase, we are running site maintenance. Review your account info with the required login." And then presumably they're asking you to click on this, download the link, and then give them all of your required bank information. So what do we think? Is this a scam or is this a legit message from your bank? It's a scam, you guys. If they were running site maintenance, as they do very often to ensure safety and security, if anyone does online banking, typically you'll get an email several days in advance and then have a header on the top of your bank website saying, "We're running maintenance tonight from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. You won't be able to access your account." They typically don't text you, and your bank already has your account info. So they are not going to reach out to you again and ask you to repeat it or provide it, especially not over text message. So do not share that information. You can then verify with Chase, if Chase is your bank, "Hey, you did not send me this information, correct?" If you're really concerned, but this is quite obviously a scam. Fake, fake, fake. But again, it may not be as readily apparent to someone, especially if they're acting in emotion and if they receive that message and they're scared and they're worried. But do your best to reassure the person that by not responding, by not giving information, they're doing the best that they can. They're not putting themselves at risk. They're being protective and responsible. And we're going to discuss a case example about employment supports. So Marion and her job coach, Jen, created a LinkedIn profile to showcase Marion's vocational skills and connect with other professionals in the field. The two worked together to create a resume, which was uploaded to Marion's LinkedIn page. Marion and Jen browsed the internet for job applications and seasonal hiring opportunities. Marion and Jen filled out applications online using only secure, trusted websites. Within a few days, Marion received a call requesting a job interview and was excited about her employment prospects. So what does this sound like? A legit opportunity, responsible use of the internet, or a scam? It is legit. LinkedIn is a fantastic website for job seekers. It's used by many professionals to maintain connections within their field and with people they went to college with. And I think of it as kind of a professional Facebook. But this Jen sounds like an amazing job coach. Jen sounds like she is taking the opportunity to educate Marion about advancements in job searches. It's not all happening in the newspaper classifieds anymore. There's so much information online about available jobs, seasonal opportunities, gigs. So absolutely, Marion and Jen sound like they are a team that's working together to use the internet responsibly to really amp up Marion's potential for securing employment. Oh, and I should also say that Facebook now offers job opportunities, and there is Facebook is also offering job opportunities and information about employment within your community. So support employment professionals, check that out. There's a lot of information online about how Facebook specifically is addressing the need for employment. Oh, and I'm seeing that you guys responded in the questions box. That is awesome. Thank you so much for your feedback on the legit versus scam case examples. And we've got some more. So let me see. I need your feedback again, guys. So imagine that you receive this message from someone named Harris. And they say, hello, my name is Harris and I represent a Fortune 500 company. Sounds fancy. I would like to interest you in a chance to earn US $5,000 a month in the comfort of your own home. What do you guys think? Is this legit? Scam, scam, scam. Absolutely. Anybody else think it's legit? Okay. Oh man, overwhelming response is scam. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, this sounds wonderful, right? Like who doesn't want to make $5,000 a month in the comfort of their own home, working from home? But this is absolutely a scam. The assumption is you don't know Harris. And the message goes on to say, we've cut it off here to keep it succinct, but the message goes on to say, send me your bank account information and I'll put a deposit in to show you that I'm serious. And Christina's response in the question section, too good to be true. Absolutely, Christina. This is just too good to be true. So this is what the block button is for. We can block this contact. We can make sure that this person does not reach out to us again. Just because you receive a message like this, I should say, it doesn't automatically mean that your information has been compromised. You know, our cell phone numbers tend to be a little bit more available than social security numbers, credit card numbers, things like that. So if you get a scammy text like this, it doesn't mean that you're in immediate danger in terms of like identity theft, but you may want to look at, do you have your cell phone number posted anywhere online? Are you posting your resume on different sites? Sometimes things will get, exposed that way. But, I would say immediately delete, don't respond, immediately delete and block the contact. But you guys were on that. Total scam. Sorry, Harris. That's a fake. Okay, so we're going to look at a couple more examples. And again, I would like to know, what do you think? These two messages here where the blue dots are, scam or... And I should say this is from my very own inbox. So at 6:20 in the morning, AC Moore is sending out their email. I love AC Moore. Ornaments are 70% off, plus save big on gifts for everyone on your list. This was, I would guess, in December. So it's a little outdated now. But what do we think? Is this a legit message from AC Moore? AC Moore is legit. Yeah. What about this second message down here from the contact? Looks to be gift archives. Gift archives. Yeah, I don't know why gift archives is reaching out about Amazon rewards, because Amazon, I'm subscribed to Amazon emails. They would email me directly if they have rewards. Also, I don't know if you noticed an immediate typo here in the open. The O is actually a 0. Why does this matter? Because if Amazon was sending out a email to their millions of email subscribers, I think they would check to make sure everything looked good and was spelled correctly. Yeah, Jamil got that. The O is a 0. So this is absolutely a scam. As you guys identified, AC Moore is legit. I love AC Moore. I enjoy their coupons. Can't beat them. So that's legit. But how do we know that gift archives is a scam? So what we've already talked about is there's obvious typos in the email header here, as well as in the body of the email if I were to open it. And in general, don't open a message like this. If you automatically see, oh, I don't know, gift archives, I don't know why they would be emailing me. Oh, Amazon. No, it just doesn't line up. So again, if it was coming directly from Amazon, it would look like the AC Moore header. It would be bold Amazon, and then whatever they wanted to tell me. But it's best to immediately delete these kinds of scam messages. Don't even bother opening it, because sometimes there is a potential for transmission of a virus or gaining of some information if you do actually open this scam email and click on a link inadvertently. So we share this widely. If it seems too good to be true, if it's just a bunch of typos, looks not legit, it's usually not. And thank you guys so much for your feedback on that. Okay, another case example based on this really happened. One day I opened my inbox to see a message from a person who is actually on my email contact list. I know this person in real life. The message is asking for my help. The person went to visit family members in another country and they were robbed. The message goes on to ask me to wire money to their bank account. The message specifically asked me not to attempt to contact the person because their phone was robbed as well. What do we think about this? Is this a legitimate message? What does it sound like? Scam, very suspicious, very scammy. Yes. Yeah, the account may have been hacked. True, Jamil, yes. So you guys, your scam alerts were going up right away. You're absolutely correct. This was an example of an email account being hacked. So what should I do? Do I just delete the message even though I know the person that was allegedly sending it, even though I know that email address? I'm not going to respond, because at that point I know that's not the person that I know on the other end of the computer or the phone. Their email account was hacked. So I can call that person or I would try to get in touch with them in a way opposite of how this scam was reaching out. So if they're emailing me, I'm not emailing them back saying, "Hey, listen, you got hacked, you got hacked." Call them or text them, and make sure you speak with them and say, "Listen, it looks like you have a hacked email account. You need to change your password immediately, or just delete the account, create a new account with a longer, stronger password." But we should not be running to Western Union to wire that money, because it is absolutely a scam. And this is actually quite a frequent scam. Someone went to visit someone in another country. Oh, I'm stranded, or I got arrested, or, I was robbed. I need your help. And typically they might send it to the person's whole contact list. So that's a lot of people that could be potentially scammed by that one single message going out. So again, it's okay to talk about these types of examples with people that you care about. You do not want them to experience the ramifications of this, because it would just be lost money. They would be sending money to someone who is clearly very deceitful and doing something illegal. So as kind of a wrap up, we want to make sure that when we're talking about responsible internet use, we are talking about these scams. We're not giving people ideas, but we are identifying things that they could run into online. And if they know what it looks like and they know that it seems scammy, too good to be true, they may be less likely to engage. And they would be more likely to tell you or someone else that they trust about the scam. And I don't think that we can say this enough. Once you put something on the internet, it stays there. There are tools to find things that were purposely removed from the internet. There's websites to look for that type of information. So we want to make sure that we let people know that once that decision's made, once you hit post, once you hit share, it's out of your hands. And as someone said in the question section, if it seems too good to be true, it usually is. Making $5,000 a week or a month from the comfort of your own home sounds wonderful, unless you've been at home for a while and you're eager to get back to the office and to the field. But generally, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Don't share your bank account in the hopes of gaining millions from someone on the internet. It's usually too good to be true. It's a scam. And in general, keep a secure list of passwords. The longer that you make your password, the stronger it is. The less likely a hacker or a scammer can break into your account. If your account if your email account shares the same password as your bank account, that's a problem. You want to make sure that you're maintaining different passwords for each of your different devices, each of your different websites. It's really, really critical, because once someone knows one password, they can break into other accounts. So it might be a little bit tedious to save all these passwords in different places, but there's different things. You can Google password keeper. You can physically write it down in a notebook and put that in a secure location, but make sure you have that information. So a couple more things. In talking about privacy, I think that it also extends to location, geolocation. It's not just our bank account. It's not just our name. It also extends to, where are you at that moment? Where are you most of the time? So this is an active link. You can manage privacy settings to ensure that you're not revealing your whereabouts to strangers or other users. Because this is something a little scary, a little freaky for a lot of people to learn, but every photo taken has sort of a geolocation built into it. It's not readily apparent. You kind of have to look around a bit and do a bit of snooping to find out where that photo was taken and when, but it's possible. So you want to make sure that your phone is not revealing your location through your photos. That's a common thing on especially iPhones. You can turn that off in your settings. But take a moment to review your own devices as well as the devices of the people that you support, the people that you care about. take a couple minutes because that could save you again from exposing your location to people that you don't want to have it. Also, I think this is something that that we all should consider. You know, when we are spending time online, when we're spending time with our phones, we're not paying attention to the people directly in front of us. We are in another place. So I think that, like anything else, it's important to acknowledge our use and to set limits about what's appropriate. A lot of families say no phones at the dinner table. You know, if you set an expectation, make sure it's built in what everybody's comfortable with. If it's a group home setting, it's not up to the staff to decide, you know, no one can text from this time to this time. Decide as a community, when are we going to be together and when are we going to be on our phones? When is that appropriate? And again, it's all part of that expectation, a conversation around expectations and responsibilities. So it's also important to acknowledge that there's information online that could get people into legal problems. That includes sharing explicit photos. It could be sexting, things like that. So there's a ton of resources specific to sexting and sharing, you know, nude photos and things like that via text and email. That could be a training in and of itself, but just know that there are very strict rules around that type of information being shared, whether it's an adult to adult and a minor to adult, whatever the case is. We want to have a conversation. We want to make sure people are not engaging in that type of behavior because it can have long-term legal ramifications. So I also want to share a ton of resources, and I saw someone had asked if this is going to be posted on the website. Absolutely. Absolutely. We are going to share this information so you can review these resources later. And I also want to make sure that we have some time to circle back and address some of the questions. So thank you guys so much for including these. I have a question here. Someone said, I had a student who thought they made a friend on one of these websites relating to the dating website. The friend stated that they could not afford bills and convinced the student to buy gift cards and send pictures of the gift cards to the friend. Luckily, the student's guardian noticed money missing from the account. The student is still struggling with understanding that the friend was using them. The student still states that they were happy to help the friend and insist the friend needed that help. Thank you very much for that comment. I think it really relates back to the fact that, again, when we are in a situation where we're desperate for acceptance, we're desperate for connection, we're willing to do things that maybe aren't in our best interest. And again, if this person believes that they, you know, should help a friend and they're financially able to do so, you know, as an adult, maybe that's their decision. But if they are going to put themselves at financial risk to a scammer, you know, I'm glad that they did, that a guardian did step in, because sometimes it needs that type of intervention in order to avoid someone not being able to pay their own bills. And again, I think having the conversation before people are jumping online, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of room for error, but having a conversation about the expectations and potential risks is really, really critical. Yes, another comment about the IRS text scam. The IRS will not call you. They will be sending their letters. And absolutely, someone else submitted another very thoughtful comment. I was told by my credit card company that they would never ask for personal information via email or text. They would reach out via mail through the snail mail, the USPS, and would always call. You should always call the number on the back of your card if you have questions. Absolutely. Thank you for that comment, Christina. That was a great point. Yeah, well, that is 3 o'clock and that hour just flew by. Thank you all again for participating. We greatly appreciate it. And please think about signing up for our webinar series. We're going to be online every Tuesday in April from 2 to 3. So these slides will be emailed, and we'll be sure to share information with everybody about the upcoming Stay Healthy at Home webinar series. We hope to see you all again next Tuesday from 2 to 3. Thank you so much. Take care.